The Wii U eShop is closing, which means that suddenly everyone cares about buying Wii U games, and the prices of some of those games are going up. But hey, this happened last year and the prices dropped. Will it happen again this time? Welcome to Retronomics, the series that follows price trends in video games, and today we're talking about the Wii U, the console that Nintendo would want everybody to forget about. But gamers don't forget, and the Nintendo Wii U is home to a lot of great games that are admittedly on the Nintendo Switch, but that means that some of the great games of Nintendo Wii U are inexpensive physically, making the Nintendo Wii U a great budget console. Last year, Nintendo announced that the eShop would close down for good, and that caused the number of games to increase in price. But this was temporary, and after a couple of months the prices dropped, but they were still a bit higher than what they were before the spike, and this is pretty common when demand increases in video games. But the prices were consistent for at least 6 months before just recently. I wonder what happened. Oh yeah, that's right, the eShop is still closing down, and the spotlight is back again on the Nintendo Wii U and 3DS, and it's caused some prices to be on the rise. The Wii U hasn't really been impacted as much as the Nintendo 3DS, mainly because a lot of Wii U games have been ported to the Switch. Yet some games that are multi-platform are still significantly more expensive on the Wii U. I'll get to those games in just a moment, but first, here's how Retronomics works. I get all of my pricing from pricecharting.com for sold listings and eBay for available listings to determine if the prices will go up, down, or stay the same. All of the prices are complete in-box listings and North American variants. So with that out of the way, let's get into some general stats. As of the recording of this video, there are 28 items on pricecharting.com that are more than $100. And if you exclude the special editions and console variants, only 6 Wii U games are over $100, and that's not bad for a system that's 10 years old at this point. Now, I do want to kind of touch on the special editions and such for a brief moment. I don't usually talk about them on Retronomics because 9 times out of 10 there are cheaper, more common versions available, and also most collector's editions just don't go down in price, so it's hard to insert them into the episode and keep the episode interesting. Like for instance, the Hyrule Warriors Limited Edition. This was exclusively sold at Nintendo World in New York, and it's listed on price charting at $1,700, and the last one sold was in May of 2021 for $2,000. And then before that, the last one sold was in 2015. So this stuff doesn't really work for this series because the answer on whether you should buy now or wait is always you should buy now when you see it. I have been collecting a very long time, and these variants are desirable by collectors because they're actually rare, and most of the time they're scooped up by people who liked the game so much that they got the collector's edition when it was released. Then you have controller bundles, which were an interesting thing that Nintendo did with the Wii U, selling games with a Wii Motion Plus controller. The only real difference between the standalone game and the bundle is the box. The controller really isn't that special in most cases, yet people will still pay top dollar for that specific box. But yeah, I thought that I would go over that before getting into the prices. If you have an idea of how to make that type of content interesting, let me know. Maybe I'll take one collector's edition and make it an honorable mention or something in the future. With that out of the way, let's get into some price forecasting for the Nintendo Wii U. The price gap between a CIB Wii U 32GB console and a loose one isn't that significant, so whatever gives you the best odds of getting the console with the required gamepad, go with that. The complete set prices are to the right here, and the other goodies that come included with the deluxe set are really the reasons why I suggest getting complete in box, because the charging cradle is honestly one of the most convenient accessories for the Wii U. The price has been relatively stable since the start of the pandemic, with a couple of peaks in December 2020 2021 and June of 2022. Not really significant price swings like the games though, so if you're looking for a Wii U, now's the time to buy. Alright, let's get into the games, and we're starting with Mario 3D World, and that continues to drop in value since my last video. Like I mentioned in the last video, the version with Bowser's Fury on the Nintendo Switch seems to be the most popular, but if you're collecting games for the Wii U, this is a phenomenal game for the system, especially at the price, so buy now or wait. NES Remix Pack increased last year because that was when the initial announcement of the store closing was, and it's dropped about $10 from its peak in April of 2022. This is one that I would probably buy now because Nintendo hasn't indicated that they are going to port this to the Nintendo Switch, which is super odd because it's a great game that deserves more eyes. If you like retro video games, then give this a go because there's a lot of cool challenges that you can do, which also can make you better at those games if you're a noob like me. Pikmin 3 has risen in price just a little bit since my last video, but not by much. The Switch version with extra content will continue to keep this price low, but hey, that's good news for you because it's a great game for the Wii U and it's cheap. Not really something that you see on these Retronomic episodes, and I think it'll remain low for a while, so make it a low priority. Devil's Third is down from its peak in April of last year, dropping almost $200. Copies of this game are pretty common on eBay, which confirms that a lot of people, myself included, bought this game specifically because of the rumors that it would be hard to find later on. Unless you're going for a complete set, I think you can stand a wait and see if this game will drop any further. Right now, it'll probably remain around its current price for the next couple of months, but keep an eye out. Maybe you'll get a panicked seller looking to unload. In the last video, Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Wii U was the only physical version of both games on the Nintendo platform in North America. And that has changed since now the first Bayonetta is on its own physical cart on the Nintendo Switch in North America, along with Bayonetta 2 and 3. Given that the Switch has become the de facto console, I think that we'll see the Wii U version remain around the same price, give or take a couple of dollars depending on the condition available. DuckTales Remastered has dropped since last video, but it's slowly creeping back up. DuckTales Remastered hasn't been on newer consoles, and there is that ever-looming threat that it might be delisted from the eStores again after the Nintendo Wii Store closes as well. Honestly, it's a fun game and worth the money if you were to buy it now, but it has its quirks compared to other more modern platforms that have come out in the past 10 years. Xenoblade Chronicles X is the first game on this list that has spiked again since the last video in the past month or so. This is the only Xenoblade Chronicles game that isn't on the Nintendo Switch, and since it's an RPG and a popular series, physical versions are going to be the only way to play it legally after the store closes. If you haven't bought this game, I would keep an eye on it for a month or so to see if prices cool off. Spikes like these don't last long, but it might level off in price higher than what it was before its initial peak if the first peak is anything to go off of. Next up is Twilight Princess HD, and it's been 2 years since the rumors of a Switch port of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD would be coming. So third time's the charm, right? I'm beginning to doubt it, at least this year, because you have Tears of the Kingdom coming out in May, and any other Zelda fixes that we're going to get are going to be coming in the form of the Nintendo Switch Online service. $100 is pretty steep for any Zelda game, so I would keep an eye out for this one to see if it'll drop after a month or so. Nintendo Land has been cheap for a very long time, and honestly, I don't think it'll take off anytime soon. It's been under $10 for the past 5 years at this point, so if you somehow haven't accidentally bought this yet, do yourself a favor and pick it up if you want some Wii U quirky goodness. Wii U Sports Club is still pretty pricey, as I think that we're now at a point where people are getting nostalgic for Wii Sports. I mean, it's been almost 17 years since the Wii came out, and this is one game that I don't think that will ever be ported to the Switch because the Switch has its own motion control sports game. It doesn't seem like it was enough to curb prices though, and the spike in price on this one doesn't seem to be as severe as Xenoblade or Twilight Princess, so this one might come down faster. Hello Kitty Cruisers hasn't moved at all since my last video, and it's probably because it's on the Nintendo Switch and there are more rarer games on the Wii U. Like I mentioned in a video a while back, it's really hard to gamble on what will be a desirable and expensive game when the system is current down the line. I don't really feel bad for anybody who bought this game at its peak 5 years ago at $127. I mean, if you got money to burn, it doesn't really matter. I think that the price will remain stable for the next 6 months or so buy now or wait. We're starting to see a trend here. Paper Mario Color Clash is seeing a bump in price higher than the one that happened last year when the first news broke of the eShop closing down. Now the clock is ticking and Color Splash is still locked on the Wii U, and it's seeing a jump in price because the physical copy will be the only legal way to play this game. While the spike is pretty significant, I don't think that it'll last long. Color Splash didn't really get a lot of critical acclaim, and the series as a whole hasn't had the same popularity since Thousand Year Door, so I would wait on this one. Axiom Verge on the Wii U is considered the definitive version to play this game. The physical version of the game has a colored history, and while it's only limited to 6,000 copies from limited run games, it's still pretty easy to track down, and the new price has gotten close to a CIB copy, so if you want a physical and didn't snag it on the eShop, the price you would lose from opening a new copy wouldn't be as bad as it was last year. But the game is available on every platform, even physically, so consider that before plunking down a large sum of money. Tank is way down from its peak back in May and doesn't seem to be rebounding this time around like Paper Mario and Xenoblade. I don't think that it'll rise in price significantly in the near future, as there are plenty of copies on eBay for at or around what price charting currently has it listed for, and it doesn't seem to be selling that fast. Obviously, anything can change, but I don't think that it'll be in the next couple of months, so buy now or wait. Rudea the Sky Soldier hasn't changed significantly in price since my last video and has actually dropped a bit since then. I think this will be the price going forward. I know that it's considered uncommon, but given the amount of available listings on eBay for around the starting price, I think that I'll be right on this one. Consider buying it now though, as some games like these tend to just spike out of nowhere. Turbo Super Stunt Squad is a game that I was wrong about the price prediction. I really didn't think that it would take off that much, but the price has jumped about $60 since the last video, and there aren't a lot on eBay, and the ones that aren't really close to what price charting has it listed as. I would wait on this honestly, or maybe not buy it at all unless you're a completionist collector. If you are, this probably will be a game that will remain around its price for the foreseeable future. The Amazing Spider-Man has plummeted since my last video, which is good if you were keeping an eye out for this game. Looks like everybody who was looking for this game back in March, April, and June of last year got theirs, and demand just fell off a cliff. That being said, there are a couple of copies available at the current price charting price, and the rest are a little bit more pricey, but I don't think that we'll see a massive run unless Andrew Garfield returns as Spider-Man. Deus Ex Human Evolution is on the rise, and given Square Enix's business outlook for the next couple of years, I don't think that we're going to see another in this series anytime soon. This was originally a Wii U exclusive, but eventually went to the 360 and PlayStation 3. The game is built for the Wii U's gamepad, although you can use a Vita or Smart Glass for the other versions. Remember Smart Glass? What a trip. Anyway, the price is on the rise again, so maybe wait this one out. It's not necessarily rare, but because it is a good use of the Wii U's gamepad, demand is a bit high as the eShop is scheduled to shut down for good. Gianna Sisters Twisted Dream is cheap, and even with a slight bump in the past couple of months, wasn't really significant enough to ring the alarm bells. Sold listings seem to max out at about $15 or so, and they don't sell very often, so buy now or wait. Mario and Sonic at the 2016 Rio Olympic Games is expensive based off of its rumored reputation, of which I really couldn't confirm since I made that video last year. It might be affected by the controller bundle that the Sochi game comes in. Either way, it's expensive and probably won't drop in price significantly anytime soon, as there are available copies on eBay for well above what Price Charting has it going for. I would wait on this one, as there's an Olympic Games for Tokyo on the Nintendo Switch if you want that type of game. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse is unlikely to be ported to the Nintendo Switch given the gameplay requires a stylus to draw a path for Kirby, but I could be wrong someday. The game has dropped since the last time I forecasted the game, but it is slightly on the rise given the eShop closing down, and copies currently for sale are listed above what Price Charting currently has it listed for. I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but it might be worth it to wait just a bit to see if prices come down after the hubbub about the eShop dies down. Game & Wario was on its way back down below $100 in November, but now it's climbing back up. Not quite as high as its peak in April of last year, and there are a couple of available listings for less than what Price Charting has it listed for, and one is actually faded like it was in the window of a game store or something. Like with more other expensive games on this list, it might be worth it to just wait for a price drop because it is likely that the price bump is going to be temporary. In the last video, I said that Steam World Collection would drop in price in the next few months, and I was right eventually. It took about 8 months for the price to settle down, but now it's on its way back up. It's hard to tell how high it will go, but sold listings seem to indicate that the price has a bit more to go, and eBay listings have this game set pretty high. It's significantly less on the PlayStation 4, which it is playable on the PlayStation 5, so if you're looking to just play the game, go that route. If you're looking to collect, I would keep an eye out, and maybe sooner rather than later. There aren't as many copies available like the other ones on this list. Shantae is a fan favorite, and there are tons of games across multiple platforms, but this is the only physical version on the Wii U. Prices have been relatively stable for the past couple of months after the spike in 2022, and there has only been a slight bump recently, which indicates that the price will remain stable from here on out. This isn't a limited run game, so there are probably more copies out in the wild than the rest of the series, so you really can't go wrong with buying it now or down the road. The Book of Unwritten Tales is going to be expensive from here on out. It has settled and doesn't seem to be jumping the way that the other games on this list have during this period, which is kind of good news, but it isn't dropping any further either. This game is available physically on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch, all of which are under $20. I don't really see any differences between these versions, and I thought that maybe you'd use the gamepad since it is a point and click, but it doesn't look like that's the case. Honestly, if you're going for a complete set, I don't know if we'll ever see it drop in the near future, so keep an eye out for a good deal. So there you have it. Wii U game prices are on the rise, but it's most likely temporary. I gotta give myself a little bit of an out because obviously anything can happen, but given the rise in price when Nintendo first announced the eShop was closing last year, it's safe to assume that the prices will spike, then fall down and be consistent from there on out. At least until we reach a point where the Wii U is 20 years old, but given the fact that we have dedicated collectors for the system now, it remains to be seen if we'll see a majority of quality games over $100 or whatever inflation looks like in 2033. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Wii U prices. Do you think that we're finally past the great pandemic boom? If you like this video and you like what I do here and aren't already subscribed, please do so. And if you want to help the channel grow, please like the video and share it on social media. It really is the best way to help the channel, and it's completely free. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at snicktendo. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Super Nicktendo, and I'll see you next time.